A common question asked when using Khan Academy in the classroom is, what happens to the traditional notion of the teacher-led one-to-many lecture? And initially, you may think that that really doesn't fit in the Khan Academy model. As you know, Khan Academy is about individualized learning, self-paced learning for students, where students are free to remediate where needed and race ahead if appropriate. So the idea of a teacher standing in front of the class and giving the same one-size-fits-all lecture to many students at once doesn't seem to fit. But that's not entirely true. There is still a role for teacher-led one-to-many instruction, whether it's lectures or discussion. It's just that the way that happens is in a different manner. So if you think about in a traditional classroom, if you were trying to deliver a lesson to a group of students, you would probably have a handful of students that are ready to learn that lesson. But you would have another set of students, invariably, that have already mastered that concept and may be a little bored. So these are the students that are actually ahead. And you may have another set of students who haven't really mastered the prerequisites necessary and really are not ready for that lesson. So there's only a subset of the class that is truly ready to absorb the lesson and participate fully and engage in the discussion. So what the Khan Academy model would say is, don't try to deliver the same lesson to the entire class, given that this is the nature of the class. Rather, look at the dashboard to understand where each student is, to see which students are ahead and have already mastered the concepts in the lesson that you're delivering, which students aren't really ready for it, and only really focus the lesson on the subset of students that are fundamentally ready for it. The way you would do this is by looking at the dashboard. So let's pull that up. This is the progress report if you go to your coaching dashboard, and it shows you all the students and all of the exercises and which ones are proficient in green, blue what they're working on, and red the ones who are struggling. So what you would do is you would look at this dashboard and determine which lesson you're thinking of delivering. So in this case, you might say, well, a lot of the students need to work on units, so I will plan on delivering that lesson. However, there are a handful of students here that are green. So these students you might take out and have them work on their individual goals, or have them peer tutor other students in different topics, and really just focus the lesson on the students you identify in the blue and the red, the ones that are either working on it and haven't mastered it or are struggling. And what you might find if you had planned, for example, to teach adding and subtracting fractions instead, is that the vast majority of the class has already mastered and is proficient in that exercise. In which case, instead of doing a one-to-many lesson, maybe you jump straight into one-on-one tutoring with just a couple of kids. Or you might see nobody in the class is ready for it, in which case you may look into having a whole group instruction with the entire class to introduce that concept. But in any case, the key notion here is, it's not about not doing one-to-many instruction. It's about leveraging data to ensure it's very productive one-to-many instruction, and you're really only delivering lectures and lessons and having the discussion with the students who are ready to fully engage in that conversation. The other point I want to make here is that you can leverage small group instruction to ensure that your students keep pace at the level that you expect over the course of the school year. So you might say, in the traditional model, I would teach this units lesson on November 1st. And with the Khan Academy model, you wouldn't necessarily say, I am definitely going to teach this unit lessons on November 1st. If you see on the dashboard everybody's green here, then you might decide not to do it. But you might say, all of my students will master units by November 1st, in which case you would use small group instruction maybe the week before November 1st to ensure everybody's been exposed to it, and then ask the students to all focus on that exercise. And then the couple of students that maybe haven't mastered it, you would have one-on-one tutoring, and by November 1st you would make sure that all your students have mastered it. So you still can use the traditional notions of instruction to really ensure ensure that you keep pace and the students are focused on the material they need to over the course of the school year.